Everybody, it is Ashley. Welcome back to my channel, and today I am coming to you with my July wrap-up. All in all, I considered this to be a very decent reading month. I only read 5 books, however, they were on the longer side, at least 3 of them were, but they were all 4 stars and above with my ratings, and I'm very excited to get into these books with you today. Okay, first up is a 4-star read that I had previously read back in high school when I was working at a used bookstore. I discovered this author and I fell in love with her work, but I haven't read anything by her recently, and I was getting very nostalgic for my reading tastes from when I was younger. I decided to go back and read a lot of things that I liked, reintroduce myself to books that I like, to authors that I like, and try to get caught up on their work, because they got me into reading, and it was just kind of a shame that their work started to fall off for me. There was no particular reason, no reason why, really, and it was through no fault of their own that I stopped reading them. It was just I discovered more authors, more books, and I just tended to forget about these people. And one author that I really wanted to dive back into and rediscover was Lisa Jackson. I read several of her books back in the day, and if I'm remembering correctly, I had always considered her to be at least a 4-star read and above. And that proved true on this reread. And I decided to read a duology series from her. It's called the Savannah series, and the first book in that is The Night Before. And in The Night Before, we follow a main character who wakes up with her room completely covered in blood. She does not have any memory of what happened, how the blood ended there, what's going on with her, or, for that matter, any memory of the night before at all. And it is not long before she discovers that her ex-husband was killed when she had this blackout. As time goes on, more and more people that are attached to this family begin to die in very horrific ways, and she has to discover if she did this herself or if she is being framed. It was a very, very intriguing read. It pulled me in. It got me excited for the next book in the series and to continue on with her work. I remembered why I loved her so much, and this was absolutely incredible. It was a 4-star read. Pick this up if you have never read Lisa Jackson before, or just if you like a good psychological thriller in general. And following up with that is the sequel in the duology, which is The Morning After. Nice little play on words there, isn't there? In this story, we follow some of the minor characters, actually, from the previous book, and one of those is a reporter by the name of Nikki Gillette. She had been very insistent in trying to piece together the crimes, trying to get information out of the police in The Night Before. And in this, she is a target of a different killer. This follows a completely different case of people that are getting kidnapped and then buried alive with a corpse. And this happens a few times. We follow the original investigators from the first book, as well as Nikki. I don't want to say too much more about it because I don't want to give away any important plot points or accidentally reveal anything about these characters, because they really grow from one book to the next. But this is a highly intriguing read. Pick these up. They're both 4 stars. The only reason that they are not 5 is just because I felt they were a little longer than they needed to be. So there are parts that are slightly laggy, but these are very, very, very interesting books. I highly recommend. And next up is another example of me rediscovering an author that I had previously loved. I read this series originally when it first came out. I loved it. They started to get a little stagnant as time went on because there are a lot of books in this series, but the first few were absolutely incredible, and I'm definitely going to be continuing on. But I read the first 2 books in the Stephanie Plum series by Janet Evanovich, 1 for the money and 2 for the dough. These are hysterical comedy mystery thrillers about a lingerie buyer who has turned into a bounty hunter in a time of extreme financial stress. She has been laid off from her position and is forced to go and work as a bounty hunter for her cousin Vinny. What is hysterical about this girl is absolutely unskilled. She's unqualified. She doesn't know what she's doing. She's quirky. She's sarcastic. But she has a habit of being able to really talk to people, pull them in, and she always ends up getting her man, so to speak. These are absolutely hysterical. I love the side characters. Her grandmother in particular, Grandma Mazur, is just the funniest old lady you can imagine. Like, if you have that crazy family member who doesn't give a damn about societal norms and is just their own person, that would be Grandma Mazur. In 1 for the Money, she shoots a chicken with a gun just because she was intrigued by the gun. And like, I don't mean like a live chicken, a chicken that was on the dinner table. There's so many scenes that have me cracking up, laughing hysterically. These are so amazing, and I can't wait to continue on with the series. I'm probably going to read 2 or 3 more in August. In the original read-through, I think I really, really enjoyed the first 12, and after that it started to get a little bit laggy, but I still liked them. And next up, we have the book of the month for July, and that is Desperation by Stephen King. We all know that Stephen King is one of my favorite authors over here. I've talked about him enough times, and Desperation is one of his stories that actually really, really surprised me. This follows a group of people that are all traveling for a variety of different reasons. And they coast through this little town of Desperation, Nevada, way back in the desert, very secluded. And one by one, they begin to get stopped by a cop in what appears to be normal situations. And he tells them that he needs to take them in. Some he's arresting. Some he's telling he needs to help them from a deranged killer that's on the loose. But when he gets them to the jail and locks them up, it hits the fan. It becomes extremely obvious that there is something remarkably wrong with this man, and these people have to go into flight or fight mode in order to save themselves. Nobody knows where they are. They have no way of calling for help, but they have to get out of the clutches of this madman before time runs out. This is a classic example of adaptations not being a true representation of an author's work. The reason it took me so long to read this book is for the simple fact of I made the mistake of watching the movie first many, many years back, and it seemed comical. It seemed over the top, and I just was not interested. I'm like, this is way too goofy. It's too out there. I'm not into this. But the book was quite dark. It was intriguing. It was creepy. Were there sarcastic moments where jokes were made? Absolutely. But it was done in a more sinister way than in a goofy way. And I highly recommend this book. I believe it has made its way into my top 10 Kings that I have finished so far. And yes, I do still have quite a ways to go with his work. But I've read a pretty decent chunk. And this has made its way into the top 10 now. And it's absolutely incredible. I cannot wait to get to the companion novel, The Regulators. That will be in August, so keep an eye out for that. Alright, and that is all that I have for you guys today. If you like this video, please make sure to comment, like, subscribe, and follow me on the social medias. I have linked down below in the description, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.